Success, failure, success, failure. I needed these failures that would lead me to bigger successes. I needed to learn.
I view entrepreneurship in business like the ultimate personal development school.
Okay, here's how to go find the money.
It sounds so simple. You just hire happy people. Hey, welcome back to the Dan Lok Show. Today I have a good friend of mine, Brian Scudamore, who is no stranger to the Dan Lok Show. We've had Brian coming to our show like multiple times now. And today he has written a new book, which is something we will talk about now. If you don't know who Brian Scudamore is, you'll have heard of the brand 1-800-GOT-JUNK. You see those big, beautiful trucks in North America running around, right? That is his company. He's the founder of 1-800-GOT-JUNK, also OTE brands as well. So today we are going to celebrate, of course, the new book. But before we talk about the book, Brian, talk to us about what inspired you to write this particular book, because you've written a number of books already, right?
It's my second book. So what inspired me to write the second book was the success and the impact of the first.
WTF.
WTF, willing to fail.
That's right.
We've sold about 60,000 books. I never saw myself as an author. And Roy H. Williams, the Wizard of Ads, who's my co-author, kept pushing me. Every year we'd go down to Austin to his Wizard Academy, and he said, Brian, you got to write a book. Brian, you got to write a book. And finally, 8 years in, I said to Roy, I'm like, I'm not an entrepreneur that needs to check the box, been an author, done a book. And he goes, no, you're not getting it. It's not about you. It's about the stories you will be able to tell that will have an impact on others. And I said, oh, I didn't think about it in that way. He said, we are going to work together. I'm going to make it easy. We're going to write a book together. I'm going to mic you up, interview you for 10 hours. We're going to get the initial ideas flowing. And we did a book. And I love the impact that it actually made. Roy was right. People would email and call, and I love the book, and I pulled this out of it. And because it actually did accomplish what we expected, Roy then a couple of years later said, time for book two.
Book two?
Yeah. We've got three. Number three is in the works already.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it a book three, right? Now,
There is.
with this particular book, when you were writing the book, in your mind, who do you want the book to appeal to? Like, who does this book help?
Yeah, great question. So the first book, WTF, was all about our origin story and lessons learned along the way. And the title, WTF, came after we wrote the book.
Interesting.
And it was. And Roy said, don't come up with a brand. Don't come up with a title. We write the book, the title will pop out. And because it was in my 33 years so far of business, success, failure, success, failure. I needed these failures that would lead me to bigger successes. I needed to learn. And so that was the first book. Then I said, okay, Roy and I, how do we write a book that can actually help others, not just inspire them through our culture and things we've learned in our business, but who is our target? Franchise owners. We love when people look at our business and say, I want to start my own business. How do we do it? Either with you or not. And so we looked at 66% of the North American population says in surveys that they wish they could start their own business. Most don't take the leap. I want that book to inspire people to take the leap, to do something. So I explore in a conversation, and it's called BYOB on purpose. Go grab a beer, go grab a latte, and we have a 90-minute conversation is what it takes to read the book, maybe an hour and 20 minutes if you're a slow reader like me. And we sit down and we investigate what are the options in business ownership, starting with a blank sheet, doing it from scratch as you and I did, or buy a franchise and take someone's proven recipe and springboard into a faster level of success.
I think the misconception a lot of people have, they think to build my own business, to be my own boss, they have to start from scratch. That's not the only way, which you and I have done, which is fine, but that's not easy. We both know it's not easy. Franchise is a way to go. Maybe you buy an existing business is another way to go, right? There are many, many, many paths. So what would you say to someone? Let's take us back, like in the beginning, when you were getting started, thinking of building your own business, becoming your own boss, just being the entrepreneur. What was going through your mind, and did you feel a lot of fears, a lot of uncertainty, or was it something like, hey, I'm just going to do that, nothing's going to stop me? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, it's scary, but in the way that some adrenaline junkies crave, like I got to bungee jump, I got to skydive, I got to do something to get that feeling. I think entrepreneurs have a bit of that in their brain.
Yes.
They like the fear. They like the unknown. And we want to cross over and look at the edge and go, oh, what if I fell? So we sort of put it all on the line. I think, to your point, people that start businesses, there's many ways. Most people don't start from scratch.
Yes.
There's more entrepreneurs that have taken an idea or bought a business, started a franchise. There's very few people that do it the hardest way, which is starting from scratch. It took me 8 years to get to $1 million in revenue.
I remember that first million.
My first franchise owner, Paul Guy, who's in Toronto, who has a $100 million business today in all his franchises, took him 1 full year to get to $1 million in revenue.
There you go.
So he did it way faster than me with the proven recipe. So how did I feel in the beginning? There was fear, but there was excitement around learning and figuring it out. I dropped out of school. I was 1 course short of graduation from high school. I then talked my way in, funded myself through my business, and then I dropped out of college with 1 year left. Because I was learning more running a business than I was studying in school. So for me, I was craving that knowledge, not in school, but learning by doing, learning by making mistakes.
In the real world.
And there's times when I had, over 10 paychecks paid to Brian Scudamore that were in a drawer with a rubber band around them that I couldn't afford to cash because I had to pay my people first. It was scary. But we get to do this. We get to be entrepreneurs. We get to take the leap. And so you've got to embrace the ups and downs. And if you can't, you're not meant to be an entrepreneur.
When you were getting started, have you ever thought the business would be this big today?
Yes and no. I knew I wanted something that was going to be
big,
a household name and would grow and grow, but I don't think I really envisioned it would be as big as it is today. And it was visions at different levels. First, it was the vision of I need to pay for college, start a business to pay for
Just
school.
to pay the bills.
Then it was I want to build a household name in Vancouver, household name in Canada, household name around North America. Let's start other brands like we did with Wow One Day and Shack Shine. So it keeps getting bigger. And what I love about that is 33 years in, it keeps it exciting, fresh, and new for me. We're able to take all the learning, make some more mistakes, hopefully not repeat them, but it's exciting.
What would you say to someone getting started in business? Maybe they don't have the resources. They might say, oh, Brian, easy for you to say, but I'm just getting started. I don't have the money, or I don't have the contacts, the relationship. And what do I do?
I started with $700, right? I didn't have the resources. Steve Jobs and Wozniak, they didn't have any money. They started with $1,000 in a garage. They built the biggest company on the planet.
True.
Amazon, Jeff Bezos didn't have money. So I don't think that's an excuse. I think that everybody has an uncle, an aunt, a grandparent, someone that they can go to and borrow a little bit of cash if they've got a great idea and they're passionate. Many of our franchise owners go to family members and say, hey, listen, I just need a little bit to get started. This has always been the dream. I can do it. So entrepreneurs are creative and they go find funding. That's part of, we love seeing a new franchise owner come to us and go, I want in on Shack Shine. I don't have any money. Okay, here's how to go find the money. And they prove themselves to themselves and us that they can be a good entrepreneur because they can fundraise, they can get off to a good start.
As I always say, I don't think it's a lack of resources. I think it's a lack of resourcefulness.
Totally.
If for all of us, not all of us came from money. We started from scratch, sometimes negative, and we just had to find a way. And I think it's also every step of the way. I view entrepreneurship in business like the ultimate personal development school, right? It tests you. Right? Are you driven? Do you have persistent? Are you gonna quit? Right? How do you deal with people? Like every stage, I'm sure. Like with you, the first 1 million, then you hit 10 million, then 100 million. As you shared with me in the past on the show, you thought, hey, now we're big enough, and it's no problem. But then you hire one wrong executive.
Boom! It can crumble like a house of cards.
Yeah, like what you've been working on for like years, right? Just like that, and every stage. And now you probably add, what's the revenue now? $500 million, close?
Yeah, no, we're more than that. 1-800-GOT-JUNK alone is 600 million.
Amazing.
And then you layer on Wow One Day and Shack Shine. We will get to $1 billion in the next few years.
Okay, I have to ask.
Which isn't about the money, it's about the size
which is
and
awesome.
impact.
It's
Thank
beautiful,
you.
yeah. But from every stage, from $1 million business, 10 million, 100 now to $1 billion, for someone getting started, maybe reading the book, they're like, they can't even envision. They're trying to, I just want to be my own boss and maybe get to first $100,000, right? Share with us the stages that you go through as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, who you have to be and what skills you need to develop every step of the way.
You've got to have a vision and belief in yourself. We don't need to know what $1 billion looks like if that's someone's goal. And it wasn't my goal out of the gates. It was to build $1 million business and then a 10 and so on. If you think of yourself driving at night on a dark road, you've got your headlights, you can only see a couple hundred feet ahead. You're not seeing all the way from Vancouver to Toronto, right? If you're leaving from Vancouver and Toronto is $1 billion and you can only see 200 feet ahead, your vision has to be, what can I see in front? How do I react? How do I make, here comes a corner, here comes a pit stop, I run out of gas. These overnight success stories take a long time.
33 years.
Right? So it's just, an entrepreneur has to be able to vision far enough ahead and not know how to get there, but figure out how to get to the next 200 feet.
And it's something that we have also talked in private, like what drives you today compared to before?
Yeah, I have fun.
Yes.
You know, you said on the book, why the banana?
Is it a banana? Is it a banana?
What was my answer?
Yeah, is it like, no, it's just fun. It's just fun. Is this like a secret meaning? No, it's just a fun thing.
You said, why the banana? I said, why not?
Yeah,
just you know, I've been known to be in a grocery store and start talking on a banana and walk through the grocery and, you know, people are looking at me. So it's taking the business seriously, but not myself.
Yes.
And so in everything we do, I have so much fun. I have fun being here talking to you. I have fun getting on email and chatting with the team. Like it just doesn't matter what we're doing. We're solving problems. We're building and growing people. We're watching franchise owners succeed. We see some of them fail. I mean, that's a reality, but you try to work hard to not have them fail, to help them help themselves. And it's just, every day is exciting. You know, the pandemic, as an example, was crappy for everybody. I still had fun. We had to reinvent and do things differently. Everybody working from home. Huddle was no longer a big stand-up meeting every single day at 10:55. It was now online on Zoom. But it actually we made it better than the in-person meeting. Instead of seeing everyone, you've been into our huddle and you see everybody, someone on stage and then everybody's backs. Well, in Zoom, you see smiling, friendly faces. Or you see the introverts light up the chat. Whereas at the real huddle, they wouldn't speak up and put up their hand.
They wouldn't say anything, just like...
Only the extroverts. So it's been a really interesting thing. And then being able to see people travel, work remotely, be on vacation somewhere and pipe into huddle to show where they are. They're on a beach in Hawaii or they're somewhere in Italy enjoying a great meal. So it's brought us closer together in many ways, technology, and it works for us.
And in some way, the industry that you're in, the business that you're in, it's more of a necessity, right? It's not so much I guess it's also recession proof, wouldn't you say? Because people need those services, right? If they have junk they want to remove, if they want to downsize or anything like that, they need your services, right?
Yeah, so if you think of North Americans, we're very nomadic and at times where we'll move from one city to another and we get vacation properties or we rent Airbnbs.
Cities, of course.
There's a lot of movement. And so that requires repainting places, hauling away junk. People renovate, they fix things, they have more junk to haul away. Shack Shine, we clean people's windows and gutters and power wash. So because of all that movement, our businesses in good times and bad will still be busy. Someone has junk when there's a recession because they're still renovating or fixing things or renting a house instead of putting it on the market, and it causes creation of junk.
Did it surprise you, like with the COVID and everything else, and now we are kind of things coming back to normal, and with the company, it's actually like it's been growing and growing. I mean, I think the first time I interviewed you, the company was doing, I think, $1 million a day, roughly. I think that was back then.
Yeah, now we do $1 million on some mornings.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It is.
That is just incredible.
And COVID's been good for us because people spent time at home. They had to get rid of stuff that they're like, I now need to use my basement as an office get rid of junk, paint, window wash, the whole bit. So it's been fantastic. And we've been very lucky. But now, of course, we deal with different challenges. How do we find enough people? You know, where did all these people that want to work go? Vehicles. We need 450 vehicles for our expansion.
Trucks.
Yeah, but we can't get them because supply chain slowdowns. It's taking longer. You know, maybe we can get 200. So it's interesting, the new set of challenges, and in good times and bad, there's always challenges.
Yes.
And you, as an entrepreneur, you get the fun of like, how do I solve that? How do we learn?
So to circle back the question, so besides the vision, what skills as an entrepreneur that we need to develop, like at running $1 million business, running $10 million business, running $100 million, like from your perspective, like I think for me, below $1 million, it was more like sales. I need to learn to sell, how to market, how to get customers, right? And then from 1 to 10, okay, I need to learn how to maybe put some systems in place and maybe more leadership and team building, right? And the 10 million, 100 is more like, okay, I need strategic, decision making. I need to grow leaders. Like for you, what has that been journey like?
Yeah, so I talk in BYOB about the 3 pillars of vision, people, and systems.
Okay.
I think any business needs those 3 elements.
Yes.
Have you ever watched that show We Crashed?
Yes.
The WeWork story?
Yeah, WeWork story.
So Adam Newman was an incredible visionary.
Yeah.
Like
and he can
world-class.
sell the vision.
World class.
Yeah.
But he didn't find the right people or treat them right.
That's right.
He didn't give to his people. He made it all about him.
Yeah.
And then systems. He didn't have necessarily scalable systems. A lot of it was let's just build the rocket ship while we're flying it. So vision, people, and systems, I think, is key at any stage, 1 million, 10, 100, 1 billion. And so vision is you're looking a little closer than you would at a $1 million business. You're kind of looking a little close.
Yes.
At 1 billion, you've got to think really far into the future because you could lose the whole thing if you don't innovate. Someone else takes you out. People, it's always finding the right people and treating them right. And every business, I think, is challenged with people because it's figuring out who are the right people for my business. What's the culture like of my business? The culture of our business at 1 million was just really tight knit and very
kind of
close.
family vibe.
Yeah, and now it's so big and disconnected that I can't even meet every employee.
How many team members do you have now?
We have about 600 in the head office.
Okay.
So I send a video, personalized video, where I get to know a bit about the employee before I send the video, and I send it out to them, welcoming them to the team because I might never meet them. I might meet them in person, but we do have some people that are working remotely that may never come to the office.
That's very nice. I'm gonna use that. It's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, you just do a quick little video and you welcome to the team. You talk about something that you know personally that they've shared in their resume or their background. And it's a little bit of a connection. And then I love when I get a video back from some of them saying, that video meant a lot. Thank you for the welcome. CEOs get busy, but there's no excuse for not making the time to have some connection.
Yes.
Sending a card, whatever it might be.
And I always, when I visited your headquarters, your office, a number of things, and you know that you inspire the heck out of me. You know that.
Thank you.
But going to the office where a few things I always remember. First of all, everything, it's the culture, the daily huddle, the people, the vibe. But also what's interesting is I said, where's Brian's office? Well, Brian doesn't have an office. No, where's the corner office, no, he doesn't have an office. Where does he work? Wherever, right? Like that just hit me. Like it tells me that it's, in terms of servant leadership, that you're just, hey, I'm with the people. It's like, I don't need a big corner office and hiding behind that. I'm just, hey, if I work, and I know that you work at Starbucks sometimes, right? That's just your style.
Well, I want to be in the throes of it.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting in the marketing department, one day I can hear what marketing's talking about.
You kind of go around,
I get to know people.
Yeah.
And it's just so much more fun for me. So again, keeping it fresh for me is keeping it fun. Getting to know more people, what their dreams are, what drives them. Many of our people become owners for themselves. So whatever drives someone and makes them tick, if we can be a part of making their dream a reality, that's exciting.
I want to talk about the franchisee that you work with, right? So there are so many franchises out there, right? There's so many, like it could be, I won't name names, but there are many franchises. From your perspective, how do you differentiate what you do from other franchisees, like other franchises out there? And in terms of support and system that you provide, like so they could be buying a sandwich franchise, right?
Sure.
Or a burger franchise, right?
Of course.
So, but when they come to you, like, what's the difference?
For us, I think it's the long term. Like we are there to see them build a successful business and a successful life. We're not just trying to get rich off of them. We partner together. The first thing I did when I became a franchisor was I changed the term of you're not a franchisee, you are a franchise partner. we succeed if you succeed. We depend on each other. So we're partners. And that made a difference. And so we've been out there to always support them like they're a family member. And we don't just say it, we work really, really, really hard at it, because the best way to find more franchise partners is validation from the ones you've got.
Yes.
We don't always get it right. We've made mistakes. We've had our growing pains.
Yeah.
But I think what makes us different is it's all about people, finding the right people and treating them right, especially our franchise owners.
Do you filter in terms of, does anyone, they say they want to buy a franchise from you, do you look for certain qualities like, hey, this is a person that's going to be successful, or he's a person that's just kind of not super serious, you kind of know that they're not going to make it? Like how, like do you filter and say, hey, these are the partners that we want. These are partners, they can write a check, but we actually don't want them.
Yeah, we don't want someone who's just an investor writing a check.
Yeah.
Unless they've got a partner who's hands-on, who is the, like, I'm the business.
Yeah.
We look for what we call the 4 H's.
Okay.
Happy, hungry, hardworking, and hands-on.
Okay.
We want someone to come to the table that's going to roll up their sleeves, get to know the business before they get out of the business and try and scale it, right?
Interesting.
The E-Myth approach of work on your business, not in it.
Yes.
But you can't work on your business until you understand it. You've rolled up your sleeves and hauled enough junk or shined enough shacks, right? And we look for happy. It's that energetic, enthusiastic, like
which
someone.
I see from your team. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you walk into the office and you come to the junction, you go, "Why is everyone smiling?" Because we hire happy people.
Yes.
Do they have bad days?
I
And
know it sounds so
sometimes
simple.
not smile?
It sounds so simple. You just hire happy people, but it is.
But it is. We don't want complainers. We don't want people that are thrown off by challenges. We want people that look at a challenge and go, "Okay, I can do that."
Yeah.
And they work together as a team, and we build something bigger and better together. Happy, hungry. We want people that need to make this work. We don't want someone that goes, I got 5 different franchises, different brands.
It's a little something I have.
This is like, no, I got to go all in and make this succeed. When Paul Guy, again, first franchise partner in Toronto, joins the business as an employee, worked his way up. He was such a great guy. We said, listen, why don't you go to Toronto? Your girlfriend's there. Why don't you go start the business? And thumbs up, he went. He really worked with very little money. He borrowed $25,000 from his brother. That was his life savings. Off he went.
Being
resourceful. And he went out there and he just worked his butt off and said, what will it take to get to $1 million in revenue in the first year? 6 trucks. He put out 2 trucks, then he put out 4 more. And he stayed focused on just that. And he's gone on to buy more 1-800-GOT-JUNK franchises.
I was going to ask you, so if someone who's successful, chances are they would want to buy more franchises.
At the right time, if they've proven to be a leader who can lead. So he's in Charlotte and Nashville and Saskatoon and Melbourne, Australia, and Sydney, Australia. He's all over the place. And he's built a $100 million empire, inspiring his truck team members and his people to also become owners.
Yes.
And it's an incredible, scalable model. But it's picking one thing and sticking with it. You've got to be hungry. You need it to work. You've got your $25,000 from your brother that you have to pay back. And over time, he's built something.
Do you provide training also to the franchisee in terms of like business acumen, not just the business,
of course,
like how to haul junk and all that, but like how do you become a business owner, right, from an employee?
Everything. We train them on everything and anything they need help on to be successful.
Yes.
Time management, leadership, developing their people, hiring, training, safety, you name it.
Yes.
And again, the partnership side is they tell us what they need, and enough people probably need that skill. We'll make it happen.
I have to ask, like managing 600 people, like how do you do that? Like that's not an easy thing. Like a team of 600 now, also hybrid, remote, some local. What's a I guess day like for you? Like do you have meeting with them all the time? How often you have meeting with them all the time, or do you just have meeting with a direct report? Like what's that like now for you?
Yeah, so our president, Eric Church, has been with us almost 11 years. He and I are joined at the hip. We talk today, we talk every day. Like we're just always focused on.
So you're the visionary, he's an integrator?
Yeah, exactly. So he's executing. He's part of the vision, of course, but he's saying, okay, how do we now go make it all happen? Yeah. So he's got his team. So I'm a part of the leadership team, but really it's his team.
Okay.
I get to participate and show up and share ideas.
How often you meet with the leadership team?
Once a month.
Once a month. Okay.
Yeah. And once a week as there's a check-in, our own huddle.
Yeah.
But Eric's managing and leading the team. I'm a participant. So I recognize what I'm good at, which is vision, branding, PR.
Yeah.
I do those things and try and stay out of the rest. So the people I'm talking to within the company,
Yes.
if there's not a cultural impact of connecting with people or a marketing branding impact, I mean, I'm generally trying to stay out, which is a hard thing for entrepreneurs to do, but you have to let go to grow.
Yes.
If you want to build something beyond $1 million, you can't be a bottleneck to every single thing
When
in the
did
business.
you recognize you need to be more of the visionary and kind of let someone else run the day-to-day? Like, was it at maybe $1 million or 10 million? When did you?
It's been gradual. I mean, if you think of a mortgage, you know how in a mortgage, it's all interest that you're paying in the beginning, and then in the end, it's very little interest and mostly principal. It's been a lot of me controlling everything in the beginning, and then over time, realizing I need to let go.
Yes.
I'd say probably the big breakthrough was when we got to 100 million in revenue.
Yeah.
And Cameron Harold, who was my
Cameron,
COO, we were so involved, both of us, in execution.
Yes.
And when he left, and I realized that I couldn't continue to lead the business without having someone like that, I was overwhelmed. I'm just like, gee, I need to put people in who can really lead this to the next level. And I let go of everything, just about everything. I mean, my day-to-day is meetings where people need something from me. It's not me trying to be the controller. It's, okay, what do you need? How can I help?
Poke your head in, hey, what's going on?
Exactly.
It's more like, hey, if you need help, like, come to me kind of thing.
Yeah, and a lot of podcasts, a lot of PR, a lot of different meetings that have to do with driving the brand forward.
Yes.
But
I definitely want to ask you about marketing, because with your business, you kind of have two marketing tracks, right? You have your B2C, which is from the brands selling to consumers, right? They need, they call, right? That's good. And then you have the kind of, I would say, B2B side, selling to business owners or want to be business owners or want to buy a franchise. How do you balance the two in terms of marketing, right? Because when you're doing marketing, it's promoting 1-800 Got Junk for junk removal services is not the same as, hey, would you be interested in buying a franchise?
Yeah. No, it's tricky because they are two very different things.
Yeah,
and
two different markets, right?
I think we've done well on the consumer side with getting on Oprah and Ellen and all sorts
100%.
of big media and
Well, just the truck alone is an
the
advertising.
vehicles.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of great on-the-ground marketing.
Yeah.
We've done that for years, but I think the whole digital storytelling, all the stuff that you're a pro at, we're still learning and figuring out.
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube's great to storytell and talk about what we're
I
looking
watch your
for.
YouTube channel. I noticed.
Yeah, but
more videos.
We've got more videos, but we're still trying to figure that marketing side out, especially the paid side, the paid social.
Yeah.
It's hard to do both.
Yes.
So you pick something to stay focused on, and the consumer side of the business needs
And now the consumer
energy.
side, I assume it's a lot of word of mouth, a lot of repeat. They know your brand, right?
It is, but we do. I mean, we spend tens of millions on radio and TV. So I'm the voice of the radio. I'm the TV ad guy.
Yes.
That was the Wizard of Ads. Roy said I had to do it. He's like, I'm going to write these ads.
Why you have to do it? Like, what's the?
He felt
strategy?
that our brand stands for this happy. We take ourselves seriously, but not myself too much. A little quirky. He just said, "Listen, you fit the brand. You started the brand. You need to be the voice. You need to connect with consumers." So I do. I shot TV commercials the other day, and it's fun to do.
Yes.
But I don't have a need to be the face of the brand.
Yes. It just happens to be a good fit.
But it is a good fit, but it takes me away from then building the entrepreneurs, our franchise owners side of the business. So we've got to shift more energy into that side.
Would you say now to get to that next level is more franchise owners? You need to be able to have number of them coming into the business for the next whatever how many years.
Well, that's how we we scaled 1-800 Got Junk by selling out of all our franchises in about 2006.
Did you have any outside investors for 1-800
We
Got
did
Junk?
not.
Just basically internal
Organic.
growth. Amazing.
Fully organic.
Amazing.
And so we've done that with our other brands, but it takes a long time in franchising before you can start to be profitable. You need at least 50 franchises as a franchisor.
Yeah, just for the infrastructure, the cost, and
economies of scale and
legal
everything.
and all that.
Yeah. So we've got a ways to go. We've got huge opportunity to build out the brands, but the most successful, the most impactful thing we can do as leadership in my company is find more franchise partners for Shack Shine and for Wow and Day Painting.
Got it.
Because all rising tides float all boats. The whole business will grow much bigger if we have more people as franchise owners sharing more ideas, making some mistakes together and learning together. It's how 1-800-GOT-JUNK grew. And to be a $600 million business, we know the other two brands, there's a bigger need for both those services than there is junk removal. So I'm excited about the opportunity to build those out.
And also more repeatable.
Yeah, like I spend more, as a customer, I spend more money with Shack Shine because they come and do my gutters a couple of times a year. They do my windows a couple of times a year. They do my Christmas lights. They power wash my deck. Exactly. And whereas 1-800-GOT-JUNK,
how much
once or twice a year, depending, you know.
Maybe once every few years too, sometimes.
Exactly, same with the painting.
But yet still 600 million.
So big potential. Big potential, which is exciting. And home services aren't going away. When you look at the Uberization of everything and the Amazon of everything.
More people working from home. They want the environment to be good.
Until robots figure out how to put paint on walls and haul away junk, which is probably not in my lifetime, we're pretty good.
You're good. You're good. Yes. And now I want to ask in terms of for experienced business owners, let's say someone who maybe have started businesses and they've done a few things, and what would you say to them in terms of, hey, looking into the option of maybe buying a franchise, maybe buying an existing business versus let me start all over again at the next thing? Like, what would you say to them?
Well, it's all a personality fit. I'm someone that needs to create something. I get bored if I'm doing the same thing forever or if I'm just given a recipe to execute on. And when I look at school, I went to 14 schools from kindergarten to high school to college.
Is it because
and
of
I never
banana?
finished.
Has it to do with the banana?
I just couldn't stay focused. I was too ADD. And so I like to create and invent things. Most people want to follow some sort of structure and proven recipe. So I think, you know, someone I've gotten to know a little bit lately, and I talk about him in the book, Shaquille O'Neal. Famous world-class
franchises
basketball, right? And he's the franchise king, and I didn't know that about him. I met him. He spoke at our conference. He spoke virtually during the pandemic to all our franchise owners, and then we spent some time together one-on-one talking, and I got to ask him some questions, and I just didn't realize how deep he is into franchising. And I said, Shaq, why franchising? And he goes, listen, Brian, from basketball, everything I was good at was working hard, following the plays, playbook, recruiting other people, building my leadership, building a winning mentality, setting goals. He goes, I can do all that in business. And so he bought franchises, plugs people in, built great teams, led them, and off they go. I mean, the guy's worth $500 million from all the things he's doing.
The restaurants and a whole bunch of things.
And he's unbelievable.
And what's very interesting is look at most athletes where they might make a lot of money from their careers, but after they retire from their careers, usually
they don't
not
know
so
what
good.
to do.
They don't know what to do, or they have spent all the money. They got no money left. Not many people can make the transition. Not many.
And that's where Shaq was smart enough to go, hey, listen, I don't need to build the race car. I just want to drive the race car, right? So he gets to operate the business, not him, but his team and people, and be there and hands-on leadership. He's smart. I think many pro athletes would have a great franchise career if they saw that as an option. And I think Shaq will help sort of make that a sexier option for many people.
It's true. It's also from the millions, tens of millions they made, instead of just blowing it on something or buying a new car. Hey, if they could put it into an improvement system, an investment. A franchise is an investment, and then they could run it and they could have something. Because then it's not depends on them. It's not them, playing the ball, them performing or anything like that. It's a business. I mean, look at Shaquille O'Neal. He's behind the scenes.
It's interesting with sports. One thing that many of our franchise owners have in common, they come from sports backgrounds.
Discipline, right?
Yeah, college ball, or some of them are high school football coaches. But people that love sports, keeping score, winning the game, they also love business. They're very similar. I was never a great sports guy myself.
Too, right?
Yeah, the competitive spirit, the sharing what works with your teammates, your peers, cheerleading each other on with the success. Trash talking once in a while, right? Like it's fun.
Well, because probably they're leaders themselves. In those environments, right?
And that would be, you asked what we look for, and I mentioned the 4 H's, but really it comes down to leadership. If someone can't lead a team of people, I always talk about leadership as, You're not a leader if you don't have followers.
Yes.
If I look behind me and I go, there's no one there,
Yeah.
you're doing something wrong.
That's right.
But if you've got followers who believe in your vision and the way and style you're doing things, your values, if you are a good leader, everything else falls into place. And so that's something we work really, really hard at, is finding a franchise owner. They've got to be a great leader, like Shaq, right?
Yes.
He knows how to lead and cheer people on and give them the rope to go out and do things on their own. And
I think I was also watching a video. He talks about, he uses like a metaphor, piece of paper. This is what you make, tears it in half.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what you don't spend.
Right.
You put that away, right? Ideally, you tear another in half, like basically 1/3 of the paper, and saying, hey, if you only spend this and you can invest the rest, you'll be good.
Yeah.
Versus like most athletes and celebrities, they make this much, they spend this much. Right? That's not so good either.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Share with us about the Can You Imagine movement, how that fits into everything.
Yeah, so if I look at some of the things we've done well, like PR, getting on the Oprah Winfrey show, that was a big win for us, because what we did is Cameron Harold was on our team as a great friend and our COO, from 2 million to 106 million.
Yeah.
Cameron said to me one day, he goes, you're the visionary. I can't envision anything. I said, of course you can. Anybody can. And I showed him how he could tap into his imagination. I said, if you were to go anywhere in the world tomorrow, money wasn't an object, on a trip, where would you go? And I don't remember the answer, but somewhere tropical. Who's there with you? His girlfriend. What are you drinking? A Corona. What does it look like, sound like, feel like? Why are you there? And I go, you've got an imagination. You can envision something in the future that hasn't yet happened that you see yourself doing. So we took this wall that was empty in our office and said, Cameron, how do we inspire others to think, what are their big dreams and goals that they want for themselves that the business might be able to benefit from or they can make happen? So we started with, can you imagine being featured on the Oprah Winfrey show? Can you imagine being on the Dr. Phil show? Can you imagine being on Starbucks cups worldwide? There used to be this campaign called The Way I See It, where they'd have quotes from actors and actresses and famous people. One of our people in our marketing department envisioned, well, why couldn't we get a quote on the side? And we did. It's like Brian Scudamore, 1-800-GOT-JUNK. You are what you can't let go of, on 10 million cups. Around the world for free. So it's imagining big things, and we get people to put a statement in a big vinyl decal up on the wall with
It's
our
in the huddle
approval.
room, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And we got to figure out more of a virtual option now with people working from home.
Yes.
But what is a big thing that you can imagine, and then how can we help make it happen? So one of the ones in our painted picture.
Is it business, the company related, or is it sometimes personal? Is that a big thing?
So we have also what we like. Can you imagine for people's personal lives? We call it 101 life goals.
Okay.
What are things they want to do personally, and they share them with people in the company, and they work together to try and cheerlead each other and support connections and so on to make them happen. So the Can You Imagine, one of the ones we came up with, which was really valuable for us in terms of really taking ourselves out of our comfort zone of what possibility could be, is can you imagine, Oprah was the biggest show at the time. The biggest show currently, till about a month ago, was the Ellen DeGeneres show. So we put in our vision, our painted picture, can you imagine being on the Ellen show? And our painted picture got to the deadline, we hit our revenue goal, but we didn't hit that one thing that was in there. We had a couple of women on the marketing team, one who years later read that, and she's like, let's make that happen. And during the pandemic, she reached out to the Ellen show over and over and over and hounded them. And it was a process and made it happen. We weren't on just once, but we were on twice. Once with 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and the second time I was there talking about the Can You Imagine movement with Ellen. We're going to go do a Can You Imagine wall in Washington, D.C. for a teacher who was on the show. Fairly poor area, troubled area of town, and we want to inspire their kids. We're going to do something in the early fall.
It's almost like a vision board.
It's a vision board, yeah. It's dream big and put your statement of what you could see for the world. So I did one at my kid's school about 8 years ago, and it's still this beautiful art installation that's there today. It's the biggest wall in the school. You enter into the foyer, it's right there, and it's kids who have put their names below, can you imagine a cure for cancer? The person who's put their name there might actually be the researcher who goes on to college to become a scientist and discover a cure because they've planted a seed in their mind at a young age. We don't teach our kids to dream and think big. especially during the pandemic. No, you can't do this. Yes, you must wear a mask. You have to do like all these rules and structures to keep us safe.
Yeah.
But what a great time now as we start to get out of the pandemic to say, let's inspire everybody to think big.
Yes.
And that's why we went to Ellen. And Ellen said, Brian, my entire life, off the show, behind the scenes, she said, my entire life has been imagining big things and seeing them happen. She saw herself being the first female comedian to get called over to the couch. They call it on the Johnny Carson show.
Yeah.
Johnny Carson, the biggest late night comedy show.
Yeah.
And if a comedian was called over to the couch, if Johnny Carson said, come on over here,
That means you made it. Yeah.
that means you made it instantly.
Yeah.
And she envisioned that at a time when she was terrified of public speaking. But she made that crazy, can you imagine, happen. So she saw what I saw in a potential idea to build a movement, change the world. One wall at a time. And so you can imagine kids in schools or people in businesses.
It's almost
walking
unifies
by.
the people. Like maybe I cannot make it happen, but you might know someone that can make it happen, or you might know someone that can make it happen, right?
Yeah, I came up with the Can You Imagine for the Ellen show.
Yeah.
I didn't make it happen. Nadine on our marketing team started it off.
The conversation.
And it just went on and on and on, and the
That's a
whole
good
team
idea.
put
I
it
love
together. So
I love that.
yeah, it's a great way to use an empty wall space where you just put big ideas up there that people
gonna
go,
do that.
oh, can you imagine if
do
we
that.
did this?
Yeah.
And what's exciting is it's a way for people to have ownership in a business because they might go, can you imagine if I made that Starbucks cup idea happen and we were able to check it up on the wall and my name's forever there as an impact I made to the business? It gets people excited about a little legacy within that business.
100%, 100%. What are the tips you have for business owners like getting started? Of course, besides reading the book, what would you say to them? Like if you could kind of go back to even a younger version of yourself, right? What would you say to them? If they're thinking about starting a business, maybe they're thinking about buying a franchise, they want to be their own boss and just build their own business.
Yeah, well, I love inspiring entrepreneurship. So
Yes.
at the end of the day, do I care if someone buys a franchise with us or buys a franchise with someone else or starts their own business from scratch? It doesn't really matter to me. Business makes the world a better place. People learn, they grow. So what I'd love to see is one of three things. That if someone is one of those 66% of people that has dreamed of running their own business, think about why you want to run a business and what really matters to you. What's your reason for building a business? For me, it's watching people grow. The best way to do it was franchising so that you could see all these other owners like McDonald's have skin in the game and grow their own deal. Find out why and what drives you. I'm a creator. I need to create from scratch. I don't want to be given a recipe. I want to give a recipe to others that they can then even mold and perfect and get better and grow. So the three paths I see are generally start with a blank sheet and create from scratch.
Yes.
Buy a business or start a franchise with a proven recipe, something that's established already.
Yes.
Or the third is go work for an entrepreneur. We have so many people that have worked in O2E brands that have gone off and started their own social media business,
Yes.
their own PR business.
Yes.
You know, there's a PR company in Vancouver that I think is the largest PR company in Canada. They were on our PR team. Do I feel awesome that they've gone out and done their own thing and been successful because of what they've learned and been inspired by? Of course.
Yeah.
So learn from an entrepreneur and then go do your own thing.
And maybe it's also a good opportunity to see when you work alongside with an entrepreneur, you can kind of judge and decide, is this something that you want?
Exactly.
Right? Maybe by that time you shadow them like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not for me. Like,
Yeah.
right? And now you can get a taste of it, right?
And not everyone is destined to be or
I have
should
to
be
ask,
an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur, made or born?
I mean, it's too black and white for me. I think that I look at myself and I go, as a kid, I used to have car washes in the neighborhood and I'd
Entrepreneurial.
recruit friends and I did a bunch of entrepreneurial things. I had a school store, set up a private school when I went for a year because I was a bad kid and got sent away. But I tried to make money and have fun out of this opportunity. So I was always entrepreneurial, but I think I've learned and been inspired to be an entrepreneur by people I've seen be successful, by mistakes I've made.
A little bit of both?
Yeah, a bit of both for sure. I don't think anybody's a pure, Richard Branson would say, I was born to be an entrepreneur. I don't know. I mean, my dad's a doctor and at 5 years old, he was given a book about medicine and it lit a fire in him and he's like, I'm going to be a doctor, and he became one. Some people are really clear. I think most people don't know what they want to do in their early 20s, and they're trying to figure it out. But I think a bit of both.
You had some entrepreneurial qualities,
Yeah.
right? But then throughout time.
Well, it's like anyone in sports. You find out that you're good at something and you've got some talent, and then you build on that.
Yes.
So I'm a big believer people should build on their strengths. Marcus Buckingham, first play to your strengths.
Yes.
I have so many weaknesses, like I can't focus in school and all sorts of stuff I had as a kid.
Yes.
Don't focus on improving that. Leave school and build a business, right? So I play to my strengths.
That's great. For someone who wants to get a copy of this book, Amazon, they can get it from Amazon. You have the Kindle version as well.
Yeah.
What else are you planning to do the book? Anything you are you thinking of doing a little book tour, virtual book tour? Like what are some of the plans?
I don't think so. I mean, a book tour is kind of old school. Today it's easy just
virtual
to go
podcast.
Be virtual and show up to keynote at people's conferences virtually or in person. Right? Which is going to be fun.
And Summit October, right?
Yeah, looking forward to that.
That's great.
So to me, the book is just another piece of how do you inspire more entrepreneurship. Who knows who will read it and what difference it makes? We've all been.
It will make a difference. Yeah, I know it will make a difference. It's a good book.
We've all been moved by books, right? So you hope that when you write a book, it actually translates into someone going, wow, I got something out of that.
Yes.
And
in some ways, it's also part of the part of legacy, right?
Yeah.
Right. The books around after many years.
Yeah.
After we're gone. Oh, I remember that book.
Yeah. Right? How many books have you written?
13.
Holy crap! Wow, that's a lot of books. But it makes a difference,
it
right?
Does.
And
it does.
You can change someone's life with a book.
It does.
Or your life can be changed reading a book.
For
I read The E-Myth.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't think I would have ever built a franchise organization if I didn't read Michael Gerber's book.
Yes.
Yeah. He's like 83 now, and
we
still keep in touch.
I had Michael attended my event a few years ago, and I shared with him. I said, Michael, I read your book. The funny story is I was I think in college or something like that, and then I bought the book like used. Right, because I had no money. I bought it for $2.95. It was the old version of it.
Right.
I still have the label of like I bought it for a few dollars,
Yeah.
and I bought the book. And again, so many years later, meeting him in person, telling him how much he inspired me, have him attend my event with his wife. Just incredible.
It is.
It's just like it's surreal in some way. Like, well, that's the author who inspired me.
Yeah.
It's all because of a book.
Yeah, books are big. So I'm glad that the Wizard of Ads, I don't want to say strong-armed me into writing a book, but he's like, Brian, you have to. It's been 8 years of me hounding you to write a book. Write a book. Right?
Yeah.
And then the second, and then the third is actually all about the Can You Imagine, how to create a Can You Imagine movement, be a part of it.
This time it's not going to be 8 years, right?
No. It's gonna be quick.
Yes.
Yeah, we've already got the first draft coming.
I appreciate it. Well, Brian, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank
Make
you.
sure
Always
get a copy of the book. It's a great book. Takes you 30, maybe 90 minutes, 2 hours, short read. But if you have not read Brian's last book, which is WTF, I think I'll recommend that book as well. It's almost like by the time you have the third book, like a trilogy.
Exactly.
It is like a trilogy, right? You get more out of this book if you read the last book.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.